When you're editing, you're gonna come across a roadblock where you have to pivot. And in this case, I'm utilizing a green screen element for a TV screen. In Premiere, I ran into this problem with the Ultra Key effect that you drag and drop. The green screen is supposed to be easily kind of removed by just using the beaker and pressing on the screen itself. There was conflicting issues that kept happening. So there was two different greens. The lamp behind was getting picked up. It was flowing and filling into the background of it. Here I had a choice to make. Either I bite the bullet and open up a more advanced software such as After Effects, or I figure out an alternative. So yeah, this is what I did. I was too prideful and I wanted to do this whole concept in Premiere Pro. And some of you might only edit on Premiere Pro. So this is for you guys. This video was a promo video that I was making. One of my good friends who's an artist, Slim DeWitt, and his kind of return into dropping music again. And in the beginning, it started out just as a concept. I had an idea, a really cool idea of what I want to try to go for. Get to a certain place and be like, oh yeah, this kind of works. That's kind of how I work as a creative. And I wanted to just do it in Premiere. That's when I ran into this issue. I found these two clips, a close-up shot and then a wider shot of this TV office that I really wanted to use. What do you do when you run into a problem in an editing software, editing? You have two options. One is to pivot and try something else completely. Try a different program, different shot, or two, you figure it out a different way. You utilize different tools to problem solve, if you will. I really enjoyed this shot. I was confident in this idea and I wanted it to get to a certain place that I knew the thing in my head to transmit it into real life. I knew it was gonna be sick. I knew it was gonna be sick. How did I do that? Instead of utilizing the Ultra Key, which makes life a whole lot easier, that's why we have green screens anyways, I had to make my own mask in this TV screen, served as my green screen. For both of these two shots, I made two individual masks. First wide shot, I built the first mask. You zoom in and the more points you put, the more accurate this mask will be. After that, I just played around with the feathering and just made it as close to realistic as possible where it didn't bleed out and it fit the frame of the TV. For this one, the mask itself, and once it was completed, that's kind of all I needed for this wide shot. The more close-up shot, in the beginning, there's a pan in, but the same process follows. I used the pen tool to create this mask over my TV screen, but there's a problem. Because the shot is moving in, the screen itself coming larger and larger, so that mask has to do the same. That mask itself needs to expand as we're zooming into the shot. So the first thing to do after you create that mask, tracking the mask's path. And Premiere can do that on its own pretty well. You just hit first kind of play/frame tool and then effectively throughout the whole clip to be the path of the masks to be. Remember I was talking about it needs to expand. It has a good tool underneath the feathering as well as mask expansion. We need to put our own individual keyframes as it's getting larger and larger and larger. This one is a little bit tedious. You go frame by frame, increase it where it needs to be increased, the alternative decrease it where it needs to be decreased, and add your keyframes one by one. It can get very tedious. You can go frame by frame depending on how fast it goes, how complex it is. The more keyframes you add, the more accurate, better it's going to look. So the more time you can spend on it, the better it will look, essentially. Other than that, that was the only difference between these two shots, and everything else was kind of the same. Step one, the most easiest step, that was supposed to be the easiest step, is out of the way, finally. Now you want to think about these as kind of layers. This is going to be the top layer. So now you have two top layers of your TV environment and TV screen, and what we're doing is putting in the video clips that we're going to include inside the TV screen. To make my life a whole lot easier, I built that sequence of the video clips and the story itself that was being shown on the TV on its own separate timeline, and I exported it as its own video clip, so it's just all in one place. That makes it so much easier Once you do that part and you're working with the full clip itself, then bringing it into the regular timeline where you're chopping it up between the wide frame TV shot and the close-up TV shot. I'm telling you, this was me thinking ahead, and it saved me so much headaches in this program to do that ahead of time and then deal with it now. Right. Overall concept itself of working with green screen elements, VFX elements, and things like that, your one goal is to match it up perfectly with its environment. And two ways to do that most of the time, two basic ways. One is tracking it on whatever subject you want it to be tracked on. Some people do this with signs, some people do this with TV screens. The other way of doing it, which is a lot more basic, color grading and making sure the colors match, making sure the effects match to its environment. The video clips itself, I made a separate kind of adjustment layer. Basically I made another mask just so it covers only the screen of the TV, because I needed to do certain effects on the TV clips themselves to sell you this idea. I did use a third-party plugin called Dehancer. It is kind of costly, it's not free. Well, the reason why I used it, because it had almost every effect that I needed to kind of sell you the idea that the TV is realistic, right? You don't need it, is what I'm saying. If you know the certain effects you are trying to do on particular videos, you can figure out how to do it with alternatives. I was just thinking about all the effects that a TV screen were produced to video clips, especially an older TV screen. Add bloom and glow, red halation glow, a bunch of static effects, and also like a bunch of like grain effect as well. The most important thing is to know what those certain effects are called. And then a quick YouTube tutorials, there's millions of YouTube tutorials, different plugins as well that might be free that you can integrate into Premiere Pro itself to achieve these results. You don't need a third-party plugin like I do here with Dehancer. Afterwards, I just added more adjustment layers on top to bring it all together. Lumetri tabs on Premiere Pro added a certain LUT that I enjoyed. By this point, I knew I achieved my initial idea that I wanted for this video. That's where I kind of stopped because I was kind of happy with the results of where it stood, but I could have easily kept going. That's a decision you make yourself. So the color grading itself is complete. I enjoyed it completely, but I want to really sell the idea. I had to work on the sound design of the environments I was in, adding in kind of atmospheric sounds in a room. But also too, the video clips themselves and the TV playing itself. I did a bunch of effect with studio reverb that's included in Premiere Pro. This comes with practice, but this also comes with just having knowledge and ideas to take something further. Where it always starts is just looking at the shot and saying, okay, if I'm in this environment, if I'm looking at this in real life, how is this going to sound? Older TV, so the sound isn't gonna be like bass boosted, isn't gonna be like crazy clear whatsoever. So I know that it needs to be distorted in some type of way. It needs to be kind of shallowed out, distorted, maybe echoey. So having those ideas, then I go into kind of the reverb, the studio reverb section and those effects, and tweak it to my liking to sound as realistic as possible. The only difference between the two, the wide shot, we're further away from the TV, so it's gonna sound a little bit further away. Or the close-up is gonna be louder. Some appreciation even when the feelings come again. You'll see that you gained a lot of strength. Because again, and I repeat, the overall goal is to make everything feel whole. But in the end, with everything completed and I enjoyed where it got to the final point, this was the final result. Enjoy the final result.
Ever since my realized purpose aligned with my talent, the golden message has always been internal growth. I've been missing and been dealing with some dreary stuff, but he is listening and I've been venting cause this year been tough for everyone. So I've been in his presence getting near him cause the fear and the uncertainty around us isn't clearing but consistent. I learned what not to do by looking around me, reflecting, internalizing. It's all the brain, got a feeling he'll deal with all the pain. You'll gain some appreciation even when the feelings come again. You'll see that you gained a lot of strength. sharpening both how I write the message and how I deliver it.
Sound has been solidified, the bars was always liquefied. The combination of the two gon' have the listeners hypnotized. I will advise that y'all make way, cause I'm gon' hit the mind. The way the pieces coming together, the picture digitized.
Stockpiling my arsenal, so to say, of songs based on my lived experiences and what I learned from them.
I'm awake and then we only getting started. If they say that consistency is key, I'm making copies of hitters.
So you don't gotta repeat them.
I can only pray and hope that I present and do my best and that people respond to it.
That being said, I can't pour into your cup if mine is empty. So that begs the decades-old question first asked by Miss Lauren Hill. How you gonna win?
Tell me how you gon' win when you ain't right within. And how you gon' live if you don't try to forgive. Pay attention to the energies and light you emit. Cause some people gon' remember and mirror how you made them feel.
How You Gonna Win, featuring the class of 2025, out January 17th. Tap in.
But yeah, it was cool. I hope you guys enjoyed that breakdown. Let me know if you guys have any more questions. Stay safe, everyone. Always what you love, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.